All right. Feels good to get back to work. I know that anytime coming off a loss, the best thing to do is just get right back at it. And we got another great opponent coming. It's going to be another great challenge. So we're looking forward to the process. I'm excited to get to practice this afternoon. I think the guys, they were in here this morning watching film, and I like where we're at. We just got to get to work and have a great week of practice and understand and respect the opponent coming in.
What were some of the positives you took away from Saturday?
I think there was a lot of positive things that went on in the game. I think that once the defense settled in, I thought they played pretty good. We put them in some bad situations. I think one thing that we talk about as a team, just the starting field position. You look at our first 6 drives. I mean, our best starting field position was the -25. They started 4 possessions on our side of the field. Anytime you do that against a good team, they're going to have some success. I mean, the percentages where you start the football, and then really just looking at the first drive of the game. They had a first down on the first play of the game, and then we get 2 tackles for a loss and get a stop, and could really flip the field. Because we hit a big pass, but then we rough the punter. They go down and score. So I thought our defense, for the most part, even you got to give them credit for hitting some really tough throws and catches. I think Craig James is in great position on several of those plays, and so there's some positives to take away on offense as well. There's some things we got to clean up, and like I've said, we've got to be ready for an opponent that the same type of thing. If you don't play good and do the little things right, field position, special teams, penalties, those type of things, these guys, the teams in this league will beat you.
Speaking of the penalty, I mean, you guys had 150 yards in penalties. How much did that contribute to the mistakes Saturday?
I think it was big. Some of them, were really costly penalties. When you look at some things, even offensively, it was really spread out. I think we had 17 penalties. I think special teams we had 6. Offensively, I think we had 6, and defensively we had 5. Some little things to clean up as far as our tackle was called a couple times for not being up on the line of scrimmage. Little things like that isn't going to be. But as far as roughing the punter, the special teams penalties, those type of things, the block in the back, the hold on a kickoff, little things that probably we don't even think about in the game that will show our team is, our best return, we get it out to about the 35-yard line and we've got a hold, and it brings it back inside the 20. Now, little things like that, they just can't happen. So we got some things to clean up, which is good. It's early in the season. Sometimes some adversity, some things you got to learn from your mistakes. You got to learn from losses, and we will.
South Dakota State has 2 guys in particular, Winnicky and then their tight end Goddard, who they seem to make amazing catches, even sometimes in double coverage. How do you contain 2 guys like that have the size to it 6'4"?
Yeah, big receivers, really impressive on offense. I mean, making tough catches. They're big guys. The tight end, in my opinion, will probably be one day a draft pick. Is a really good player, using their body. Both of them just use their body really well. They rarely are they making catches where they're wide open. They've got people on them, but they're big body guys. I mean, and they do a good job of finding ways to get them the football too. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, and the quarterback's doing a great job of getting them the ball, being accurate. The quarterback is a guy we haven't played him the last 2 years, but we always would watch their games on offense. The last 2 years, and especially last year as a true freshman. And I can remember multiple times watching him saying this kid's going to be a pretty special player in this league. Last year he got to play quite a bit as a true freshman. You could just tell that he was going to be a really good player, and now he's got the team to himself, and he's making plays.
After watching film of them, I mean, they scored. Western had 2 early touchdowns, and then South Dakota State scored 45 unanswered points. What really impressed you on film?
I think just they stick to the plan. I think that's the way they've been coached. They're never going to get too high or too low. they're gonna play hard for 4 quarters no matter what. They've had some adversity early in the season. You just look at how they were. There's definitely no moral victories, but they played their butts off against TCU, and then played Drake, played well, but then a home loss against Cal Poly, and then just the way that they responded, and then a home loss, probably disappointing to them, and then go down 14-7, but that says a lot about their team to say, hey, let's get this thing together, and then rattle 45 points off in a row and get a blowout victory at home against a really good Western Illinois team. I think that right there just talks about what type of team is coming here: mature, well coached, all those things. So we've got to be ready for that.
Coach, speaking of blowing out Western Illinois, I think Western was number 8 in the conference, the FCS going last week. How big was what I want to try to get at is how impressive was that for you, like just to rattle off 45 unanswered points?
Yeah, I mean they're a good team, and I think you'll see that around our conference every single week. It's been like that for a long time. As you look around the league and say, oh wow, did you see that score? Did you see that score? So it gets to the point where it's not surprising, because any team on any day can beat anybody. So they're all good teams. They've got really good personnel. I like the way that they play football. You can respect the way that they've been coached and the way they play hard.
They have 7 interceptions. How would you describe their pass rush? Or is it just those guys making plays in the second?
Some of it's making plays, and really at TCU making a really good play in the secondary. Solid defensive lines. Just gonna be at you the entire game. I wouldn't say one in particular, but they're gonna have their schemes where they don't get to try to be too tricky, but they're going to have their schemes where we got to be really good in our pass pro and setting our protections right, and bring a little bit of pressure. But then they're just going to, they're solid football players all the way around, and then they've got good skill players in the back end, and a few of them have played a lot of football, so experience and been making some plays. Against Drake, they picked off 3 screen passes. So which is kind of unheard. You pick some screens off, but to get 3 of them in a game, so they're definitely capitalizing on other people's mistakes.
Was Northern running away from Chase Allen? He only got 1 tackle. I just wonder what they were doing, or were they doing anything to him?
Yeah, no, I don't think that their game plan was to run away. It's hard to run away from a middle linebacker, because he can get to either side of the football. So. They did a good job, and other people were there to make some plays, but ultimately we didn't play good enough. Chase would say the same thing. He's got to play better, and but I wouldn't say that they were scheming up. It's hard to, I don't know, as an offensive play caller, it's hard to scheme up running away from a guy right there in the middle.
You talked a little bit about Taron Christian and how special he is. How similar is he to what you just saw in Aaron Bailey? I mean, they're both dual-bred. I know from being at their game and covering it this weekend, he's got good escapability.
Yeah, he can. He's an athlete. He really is. And even just going back to when he was in high school, I think he won a state championship in the 200-meter. I know he was a really good track runner. Highly recruited kid, too. I know that, he picked South Dakota State. I'm pretty sure he had some 1A offers. So this kid's been successful his entire life. He's a great athlete. He's a big kid, too, strong. Similar to Aaron Bailey, they'll do some things that are similar, but different in their own right. He's really throwing the football really well. I mean, I think he's 15 touchdowns, maybe 1 pick, or he's efficient. He's right around 70% throwing the football. He's got some weapons, so they're not afraid to come out and say, hey, we're going to throw it a lot, and trust him to sit back there and be just a straight drop back passer too. So, but then that's what's tough. I mean, when you got a guy that at any point can be a quarterback runner and he can sit back there and throw it, that's what makes him a good one.
Your own screen game, I think against Northern Iowa, they seemed to, they almost intercepted 1 and they snuffed out another one. Do you feel like you have to do something differently to, I guess, deceive that, or?
Yeah, no, we had a couple different things in. they were, yeah, they definitely were prepared for a couple different looks. Sometimes it's all about timing with screens is what it is, and felt like we had one that we could, but Farley, their middle linebacker, made a really good play on the one that probably had the best look to be a successful play. But it's not a huge part of what we do, but we're gonna do that, and just got to execute them better. Screens are about timing, not only when you call them, but also you've got to have great timing with letting your linemen get out in front. If your back's too far out in front, then ultimately the guy that we should be blocking tackles, the running back, happened once. So we got to clean a lot of things up. That's one area we could get better at too.
You guys return home this week. I guess just how important is it, to continue to protect your home turf and plus getting these guys here at home, at least being able to try to play them here.
Yeah, it's always huge to play at home. We've talked about that. We've done a good job of that. Playing at home. Anytime you play at home, it's a more natural week. As far as being here, being in our facilities, comfortable. Last week was definitely a different week for us. Traveling to Northern Iowa, having to leave Thursday morning. And then we were gone for a long time, and moving. We practiced here at 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and then but that's part of it too. So, but anytime you can get at home, be comfortable, play in front of your home fans. I mean, that's what we've talked about, is create an environment here that we look forward to playing at home. Our fans look forward to playing at home and creating that advantage. And so it's been awesome so far. We need our fans to show up and be the exact same as it's been the first 2 weeks, because it's going to be a really good football team coming here, and it's the next game at home, and we've got to protect our home field.
Coach, looking at some bright spots over the weekend, I think your defense only allowed 7 points in the second half. It was in total. Is that building some good momentum coming into this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they played well in spurts, but we've done that. But ultimately, it comes down to those little things. But yeah, like I said, to lead it off, I think our defense at times played well. They made some really good plays, and we put our defense in some bad spots. But we got to regroup, because I think the name of the game, and what I've told our teams is, teams are going to make plays. We're going to make plays. They're going to make plays. What winning comes down to is sometimes the game within the game, and the little things that the people don't think about. Special teams, field position, costly penalties, just little things like that win you or lose you close games. We're sitting there in the first half with a chance to go tie the game to make it 21-21. I think we lose 15 yards and then have to punt, backed up. We shank a punt, they score, and then we go to end of the halftime down 21. That's how quickly, mistakes can cost you. So we got to learn from it, and we will, and we're looking forward to it.
Those 42 points, the true 42 points, like you said, just many penalties, many turnovers, just change field position to you.
Yeah, I think that, just the same thing. You can look at that game and do a lot of things, but I'm proud of the way that we competed. I would be highly disappointed if I ever stand up here and question our effort or anything like that. So they played hard, got a good group of guys, and we're 2-2, and there's a lot of football left to play against a lot of really good teams, including this week. So we've got to have our best week of preparation yet.